home. I haven't seen this done before.
That's my dinner.
Air roasted pizza.
What's your dinner?
You can make your own Italian style, fresh, multi-topping pizzas.
Right now.
When you order the amazing Taste the Difference air roaster today, you'll also get the
Abuzar Sultani's gang were totally oblivious to the fact that there was under surveillance just before they left their apartment to go and commit a murder, one of 3 that they committed against rival gangsters. Sultani was the leader of the rebel MC in the Burwood chapter. This week 2 of the gang have been jailed for life for 3 murders. In February 2016, Australian police installed listening devices in Sultani's Olympic Park unit that he shared with Munshizada. And they also installed a GPS tracker and surveillance device on a Subaru car that he owned. Over 7 months in 2016, the gang slaughtered Pascal Barbaro, Mehmet Yilmaz and Michael Davey. And all for power, respect and revenge. And this story is about how the police arrested and convicted the Murder 13 crew.
Right into this world.
Sultani was facing multiple charges dating back to 2013. One of them was directing criminal group activity, aggravated firearm possession, drug supply and conspiracy to murder another person. The police believed that he was part of a gang that tried to import hundreds of kilos of cocaine into New South Wales. And this was part of an operation by the Australian Federal Police, the New South Wales Police Force and the State Crime Command Drug Squad. And they seized over 500 kilos of cocaine, and overall they found $360 million worth of drugs. Pascal Barbaro was shot dead on an Elwood footpath on the evening of November the 14th. He was a representative the police believed for the organisation from Calabria called the Ndrangheta. I have covered them on the channel before in depth, and there is an ongoing trial with 300 members at the moment in Italy. Pascal was long associated to the drug trade in Sydney, and he dealt with the Hells Angels and Brothers for Life, various other biker gangs that operated in the city. They said that Pascal was a very flash person and wore Versace and often posted to Instagram in the days before he was murdered. The police commissioner in Sydney, Andrew Scarponi, launched the Strike Force Osprey in an effort to try to take down criminal gangs that were murdering other rivals in the past 17 months in the local area. 13 search warrants were executed. They focused on the Olympic Park, and officers from the Osprey worked with officers from Strike Force Raptor to investigate the Burwood chapter of the Rebels Outlaw motorcycle gang. 4 of the men arrested, including Sultani, were charged with Barbaro's murder. Police recovered in the raids 40 mobile phones, 11 cars, a safe, cash, and also stolen police identification. They found a haul of weapons as well, 20 long firearms, 23 handguns, ballistic vests, masks, silencers, stun guns, and a homemade pipe bomb. The gang were using BlackBerry Messenger. Back in 2016, PGP was the most popular form of communication, which stands for pretty good protection. But in 2016, the police managed to find the servers that were operating some of these BlackBerry PGPs and gain access, which meant that they read all of the messages, and they had unprecedented access to Sultani's plans and also recordings as well, because they installed visual devices. Sultani joined the Rebels biker gang in 2012 and became the leader of the Burwood chapter very soon. His reputation grew, and in 2016 his gang broke away from the Rebels and became known as the Afghanis, also known as Murder Crew 13. The first victim was Davey, a member of the Penrith chapter of the Rebels. There had been tensions between Sultani's crew and the Penrith Rebels, and Sultani had spoken of a bad deal that involved Davey. The judge in the case determined that a commercial motive was the reason for the murder. The second murder was Yilmaz, an associate of the Comanchero bikie gang, and he was gunned down on St Mary's in front of his partner. He was in a dispute with a lone wolf biker who was an associate of Sultani, and it was over a £20,000 drug debt the court heard. The CCTV footage showed the moment that the gang shot Yilmaz multiple times as he returned to his car after visiting a friend. Yilmaz was seen walking to the car at 6:57 on the September the 9th, 2016. The gang pulled up alongside him and someone in the car shoots Yilmaz, who falls to the ground where he's shot again. A man then gets out of the car and walks over to him in the gutter and fires multiple rounds into his body. Footage from inside the apartment complex shows the men getting back into the lift and laughing while carrying takeaway boxes. The final victim was Pascal Barbaro in November 2016. Barbaro was implicated in the murder of a man called Antoun. This was Sultani's mentor who had helped him when he'd come out of prison many years ago. The police believed that he murdered Barbaro because Sultani believed that Barbaro was responsible for Antoun's murder. And the day after Barbaro was murdered, Sultani sent flowers to the grave of his old mentor. The gang was seen extensively preparing and also going and coming back from all of the murders over the 7-month period that the police had documented it. This led some people to wonder as to why the police didn't stop them earlier. The judge in the case described them as serial killers and condemned them for their mindless murder spree. The judge read aloud in court a series of messages between the gang where they had watched current affairs programmes and also news articles from papers like the Daily Telegraph. They had also said it in messages very graphically about the way they had murdered the victims and how proud they was as well. In one message, Sultani said, "Yes, I got him in the back of the head." But he also questioned about the hoodie that he wore in one of the murders and wondered if this would come back to bite him. The gang were very confident because they kept this between themselves, but they didn't realise the whole time that they was being monitored by the police. Sultani had told a psychiatrist during the court trial that he killed Barbaro because he believed that Barbaro was going to murder him and his family as well. The judge on the case did not agree with him and did not accept this as a reason for the murder. The judge said these were needless and cold-blooded killings you only did to take you to a higher level. The gang were also heard saying that if we get away with this, nobody has done it like us. I believe this story gives greater insight into some of these biker groups and also organised crime that operates in some of them. And the story for the rebels, I'm sure, is far from over, as more recently in December 2020, the former president of the rebels was shot dead at a Perth drag race. Nick Martin was killed and another man and an 8-year-old boy were injured after the shooting at a motorsport event. He was the former president of the rebels. And WA police said on Sunday that there was a shooting at the Perth Motorplex at around 8:30 p.m. and the 51-year-old Martin was shot and a 31-year-old man. The Motorplex was hosting a drag race event at the time and both men were taken to hospital in Perth, but Martin, who was facing gun charges at the time, sadly lost his life. This is a prime example of how I'm sure this story is far from over, and I'll definitely keep you updated on anything to come from Australia and anything to do with these stories. So really appreciate you joining me today. Please leave your comments below and also don't forget to subscribe. I really appreciate you joining me, and you can follow me online as well at TikTok, Instagram, Twitter and Facebook, and I'll be back again very shortly with some more news. Peace.